So we were very privileged to get the EOS C300, the brand new camera from Canon, long before it was released.
Right.
And created a whole product line around the camera. Let's talk about some of them, Jens.
The first is our wing cage. That might sound strange, but here it's kind of a little cage that's on top, and it's got the movable flaps here so that you can actually adjust the position of things that you mount on the side. It can come in handy when you flip this up, and you can have a rod going through the center. You can have our rods coming off, our arms coming off, our ports in the front.
Plus you got quarter 20s.
Everywhere.
Yeah, if you see here, there's a quarter 20 here, 3/8/16 quarter 20.
And the small tapped holes.
Yeah, tell them about that.
So that you can move the cold shoes into different positions.
So you can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different cold shoe positions.
Right.
And then obviously you have 2 of our Z-lock holes here for mounting either rods or arms, or other people's articulating arms using one of our Zuds.
Right. And this handle connects to the quarter 20s on top.
Right.
It can be repositioned to accommodate the different balances that the camera has.
And what's great about the top handle is I like to call this a mini cage unto itself, because
yeah, because you can mount all kinds of things too.
You can do crazy stuff with this. Like, we don't have any Z mounts here, but like here, you could put a cold shoe mount on here. You could put a Psycrow and then have arms coming off of here. I've extended it once before and needed an EVF very far up. So this handle is incredibly versatile. So our winged cage is going to be available to work on DSLRs and many other different types of cameras.
Right. It just simply slides on the cold shoe on the camera, and then you tie it down with the quarter 20 that's from the top.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about our Psycrow cold shoe.
Yeah.
And this is a really cool thing. Watch what you can do with this here. You can put it on an arm, and I got to take my glasses off because I can't see close. And now you can put any cold shoe item on an arm, so you can relocate it. So like, let's say you wanted this on the wing cage. So basically you'd be able to do this, and you could use the configuration of your arm here, and you could mount this wherever you need it. And what's great about this device is it has your audio controls for the XLR inputs that are right here, and I can watch on a screen if I'm your sound man.
Probably wouldn't have the mic there.
No, probably wouldn't have the mic there. But speaking of the mic, Jens, this mic can come off of here.
And we have tapped holes on the sides so that you can relocate that. If you're using this monitor elsewhere, you can relocate your shock-mounted microphone right here.
Another feature which is great about this camera that no other camera's really figured out quite like this is, let's say you have an EVF and you don't want to use any of this. This is a big piece of equipment here. If you don't use this, the other option is there's a little mic port here, and you can put a little reference mic in there. And now you don't need any of that. Yeah. You could go all with an EVF.
Sure. A little more run and gun.
Yep. Okay, let's talk about this crazy thing. Show me what you got here. And this was your great concept.
All right, what I have here is Canon's handle that can come off the side of their camera, because with our rigs, you relocate this handle down here, and you can use the start and stop, your iris control, and the menu buttons all at your fingertips right down without having to take your hand off and touch the camera.
When you're shooting with our grips, basically, in a low mode like that.
So this portion right here is our grip relocator.
Yes. Let's talk about this double tap.
Yeah, the double tap. Now the camera comes with a quarter 20 and a locating pinhole.
Right.
But these days, you want to have a little bit tighter grip on it, so to have 2 taps of both sizes is the way to go, and that simply replaces the one that comes with the camera.
Yeah, you just pop out the 4 screws, pop this into the bottom of the camera, which is right under this toe.
Ours is stainless steel, unlike other ones that are, cast aluminum.
Yeah, you can't strip this. So you screw it, the 4 screws in, you put your 2 screws onto your tripod plate, you're ready to go. Yep. The C300 is basically a cold shoe device. It has cold shoes everywhere on its handle, on the top of the camera here. We haven't really made a lot of cold shoe devices, so we thought we would create some new products to do that. This cold shoe Zud comes in handy because there's many things you can do with this. I can connect this into arms using one of our Zupplers.
Stick it in the
side.
It
can go in here. It can go on the end of a rod. It's threaded. It can be extended. There's lots of uses for this. Okay, this is essentially our C300 line of accessories. Now, let's take a look at what you can do on a tripod. This is going to be a cinema configuration for the C300. Now, you got your EVF, which is obviously necessary, and this is more still for kind of a cinema running gun. We could do an extender viewfinder, but I mean, that's really not something that you can go from handheld to
Yeah, right now this thing is poised to quickly go to handheld, which we'll show you in a minute.
Okay.
This base plate is way different than anything we've done before and different than anything that I've seen anybody else do.
Yeah.
It's very thin to keep this thing short because this camera is already tall, and when you start adding on all these accessories and other things, it's even going to get taller, and when it's on your shoulder, it's going to get real tippy, and that's a bad aesthetic to have.
Right.
And the only way to do that is to have these rods almost all the way up against the bottom of the camera to keep this thin profile.
Yeah, you can see that. That's a really cool design. I call that the upside down base plate because really the guts of the base plate are below.
Yeah, kind of, right.
And not where we would normally have the rods below.
Mm-hmm. Yet it still has a T-slide on the bottom so you can adjust its position on your tripod plate for balance. And the rods are movable even though it's attached to the camera.
That's
still.
nice because like when you start changing lenses, you don't have to start screwing around with rod extensions. You can just slide the whole rod. It's the traditional base plate design.
Exactly.
The camera has this toe in the front because I think that it was a little front heavy. Yeah.
Its mounting holes are moved forward, probably to helping its balance on it by itself.
Right. Yeah. If you lower the rods, like with a traditional base plate, now you have to use like one of these things we call a Z-riser.
Right, or something that steps your rods up, but that eats up a lot of real estate in front of the camera.
And with this toe, you now have a serious problem that you can't get your follow focus gear back to lenses where the gear is close to the camera body.
Exactly, right.
So I think we can get our gear within a millimeter of the camera body.
Pretty close, yes.
Yeah. All right, so you got your EVF coming out of your side ports here. Now talk about your side ports.
We decided to add these ports on not only this side, but on the other side, so that you can do all sorts of things. In this case, we have a cheese plate coming up on the side from those ports, but you can also put in arms, you can mount all kinds of things from it.
Well, the cool part is that they're the standard rod width. What is that?
60 millimeters apart.
Yeah.
Right.
So, I mean, essentially, this base plate is on all four sides.
Yeah, you can build a cage around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. While we're on this side, we might want to show that we've actually, now that this plate is here and up against the camera, we've relocated their handle, which would be useless in a tripod, or even in a more shoulder-mounted configuration, down to the grips down below. Now, from this position, you're able to operate the camera start and stop, the menus.
Iris. This is very cool. Now this to me, the dumb side of the camera here is the way we have it configured is really for the sound man. So here he's got his controls, he can check his peaking, he can set the controls on his wirelesses. This is your sound man position. As a director, I don't care what anybody says, I want my own monitor. Okay, I gotta see what's going on. Here it is, it could have a hood on it, but that's the director's monitor.
Yep.
Here in the back, very cool, have the Aja Key Pro Mini, which is great because you can come HD SDI out of here, Genlock, all kinds of wonderful stuff. We could actually be recording the sound directly into here. It's nice and tight to keep the camera balanced, but yet I can see the screen in the back of the camera and control the function buttons in that back here. So we decided to make this follow focus extension, and this will work with any Zacuto follow focus. Right. So all you do is there's a screw in here, you undo the screw, you slip on this extension, and then you put this new screw in that comes with it.
The main function of it was so that you can get the EVF a little bit farther forward, shorten your rig a little bit.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You don't really see that in this configuration because we have it up higher on the tripod, but when you're in a handheld configuration, this is down and forward a little bit. You need that extra space.
Put your eye in there and you can see how perfectly this is set up. So like this eye now can see the marks right on there, and he can turn it.
I can totally see that.
This is called our winged cheese plate. So the wings in this position, one is down and one is straight, so they're individually movable. Yeah. But you could put the wings both up and then slide a rod through these two Z-lock holes.
Exactly. Right. You can do all sorts of things with it. All right, in this configuration, it's a little different than what you saw earlier because we're getting set to go from a tripod to handheld. And so let's do it. Okay. There's just a few things we need to switch around. You can see how quick it is. I'll remove that.
Okay, we don't need a director's monitor anymore, so we're gonna remove this.
There you go. I'm sliding this back. because we'll use this as counterbalance.
And then I'm going to reorient this so that it's in a little better position.
And lower the center of gravity.
Yeah.
I'm going to pop the shoulder pad on.
Now this is still set up for a sound man. He's got his 2 wirelesses here. You ready to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Here, let me grab the handle here. Scoot this forward.
Okay, so there you go. That was pretty quick. Here's the thing that I really want people to see. This is the ideal shape. I mean,
It's actually lighter than that too, I think.
oh, it's a lot lighter than this. This is actually a beast now that I think about it. But everybody said that this is the ideal shape, and that's sort of what we've created here. Here you can see the profile again. I was talking with Tom Gilmet the other day on the phone, and he's like, what I want is a camera like I used to have in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, which was the Betacam style, you know, fits on my shoulder, balanced. How's that feeling?
Right. Feels like a Betacam.
Okay, great.